So you got a lot of guys when the economy tanked, they're laid off and they think they can go run a shop because they said, they were HP tech support for a while, and they're actually making us techs look bad. So I try to make sure that first and foremost that I'm serving. That is my job. My
Right.
job is to serve,
Right.
and I'm there to serve until the job is done. Then I'm rewarded with the financial aspect at the end. That's how I look at it. And I tell you what, my customers are all my friends. Every single one of them. I don't have any customers I don't get along with. Any customers that I don't have issues with. And the ones that I do, it's very simple. If they don't like my pricing or they have a complaining about what I charge, I tell them what I expect to be paid. If they tell me they don't like it, I ask them clearly, what do you think my time is worth to you? They give me a number. I say, write the check for that. Next time they call, I'm too busy. I'll sit on the
Right.
couch on my butt with a remote, watching TV with my family instead of go work for them because it's not worth my time.
Right. Right.
So, so that's basically what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that there are guys out there who are greedy and pushing for the money thing and all that. But I'm just saying I just sometimes my personal ethics, I think supersede the serving versus the business aspect. And I'm more of a tech than I am more of a computer business owner. So, and I know one of the guys mentioned the E-Myth, which is a great book to read if anybody wants to understand where you stand, where you understand where you are as a computer repair, as a business owner, if you're where you stand as far as that goes, if you're a manager or if you're the guy who actually has the dream and the vision where it's going. But I'm just a technician. That's what I am, and I own a job, and I have no problem with that.
I see. Well, I guess if you have no problem with it, that's cool.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
I have not read E-Myth yet. I keep hearing it's really
Yeah,
awesome.
it's a pretty good book.
Yeah.
Like I said, my shop is out of the garage. My office actually is in the house. I have a lower level in there, and the layout's pretty easy. I can probably, so the guys on the video can see, I've got two screens up with two-port KVM switches, and I just can go between the two of those, and it works pretty well. Got some pretty cool stuff here recently. I had a doctor's office, a friend of mine who owned a doctor's office, and he decided to take his practice and move with a larger one. So it's pretty full right now of computers, and he just said, "Come on and get them." He says, "I don't need them," and I've got a firewall behind me. I've never played with a real firewall before, so I'm gonna play with that, and gave me a nice 24-port gigabit manageable switch. Never messed with that, so I set that up
Nice.
the other day. So
Wow.
I'm learning a lot of stuff about that. Gave me two servers, 7 PCs. Most of them are little P4s. They're fine.
Now, who was this who gave it to you?
A friend of mine who's my family doctor. He's also a good friend of mine. Again, a computer customer.
I see. So
Uh,
he wanted help with his business, or he just wanted to get rid of this stuff?
well, he's shutting his business down and merging with a larger business, and to become part under their practice. And he's going to still be a doctor. But they bought all his equipment, but they didn't want his computer stuff, and he didn't know how to get rid of it. And so he called me up, asked if I was interested, and I said absolutely. So I went and spent 4 hours on last Friday, and cleaned out all his computers and took all the gadgetry, and I've got bunch of memory over here I got to go through and test, and some video cards he had laying in the back, and so it's pretty cool. I'm excited to play with all this stuff.
Oh, very cool. That is cool getting stuff like that. So,
Oh yeah.
and what do you have? Actually have a hardware firewall now. Who makes it?
It's by WatchGuard, and it's called Firebox X. It's one of their last models. They just stopped supporting it back in December, but you can actually get support for it. I took on the phone today. I called him on the phone today and asked him what I could do about getting it transferred to my name. And just before the show came on, I got the email confirming it could transfer it to my name. So now I can actually get the most recent firmware and software for the device as of the contract ended back in May. So now it's mine. I get to play with it, tinker with it, and see how to set up a real firewall.
Nice. I know Matt Rainey uses the WatchGuard routers on
Oh,
Podnutz
really?
Pro. Yeah, and so he'll probably be talking about them later tonight on Podnutz Pro.
Nice. Yeah, I've been trying to catch up on all the Podnutz shows. As I was taking my business full time, I usually listen to a show or two a week, and I've been way behind, so haven't gotten any caught up, and I'm got about 6 of them more to catch up. So,
Cool.
but
Yeah, well, you know
yeah,
what?
I want to catch up on the Podnutz Pros. I definitely want to get those.
Yeah, a lot of guys like them. The guys who are wanting to get into the business area.
Right.
But all we got going right now is Podnuts Daily. I haven't done a Podnuts show for a while now. We got to get that going again.
Yeah, I saw that.
I have a couple guys I'm going to probably doing an interview one-on-one who have released some
Nice.
products that I think that you guys are using in the field. I mean, that's how I usually find out. Somebody will write me and say, "We're using this new antivirus. Why don't you contact the owner and get him on the show?" So we might be doing
Yeah,
a
I saw
couple of
that.
them. Yeah, so we might be doing a couple of them soon. So I'll keep you guys posted.
Cool.
All right. What else
Well,
do I
one
got?
thing I thought was kind of cool. I've been looking for a way to do credit card processing. I haven't done that. I have a little Droid 2, and Android phone, and I've been using a company called Phone Swipe.
Yeah.
And it actually works pretty good. If you get it, send you a little device, it plugs in the earphone set, or the earphone jack in the top of your Droid. You just swipe the credit card, and it works pretty well. So on the processing fee, I'm doing their cheapest package, is something like 2%, for if I swipe it, 3% if I manually type it in, and it's not too bad. So, but I've only done about maybe 6 swipes on it since I've had the business open, but it makes it convenient, at least another option for my customers. So most of my existing customers, I have about 250 clientele for the last 6 years I've been doing this, and most of them already know I'm either cash or check, and so they're kind of excited when they hear now that I'm credit card, and so it helps me get more customers also.
I agree. It's huge these days, having some kind of type of way of swiping credit card. I never heard of Phone Swipe. I mean, a lot of guys were using Square Up.
Yep, I looked at them first, and then someone else recommended I should check out Phone Swipe because their rates are better, especially if you get above $1,000 in swipes a month. They actually have a cheaper rate that you could use if you get over 1,000, which is cheaper than the other company you're talking about, the Square Up.
Right. This is cool.
Yep.
It's always good to know different competitors on this. Awesome, man.
So one of the biggest things that's been helping me is I've offered maintenance contracts. I've heard one of the guys talking about maintenance contracts. Daniel Hand, actually, I was chatting with him when I bought his book, chatting about back and forth on email. He says, you're going to starve to death if you just try to do repairs. He said, you got to do maintenance contracts, and he's right. I've probably sold, good night, probably 20 maintenance contracts. I'm charging $200 for the maintenance contract for the year. My maintenance contract, the way I have it set up is I set up LogMeIn free. On their computer to their email address. So if a tech comes behind me and they decide to go with somebody else, I'm not stuck with it. They can use it for themselves, or the tech that comes behind me can use their account that they have. So I do that, set up remote access. I either go to them or they come to me, and I clean up their computer, get all the malware off it, viruses, whatever's on it, and then I schedule for 6 months to call them. Schedule for that month to call them, remote in, and go ahead and do a cleanup in 6 months. They also get, because if they do my maintenance package, they get my hourly rate half off throughout the year.
I see.
So that really has been a big seller. Been trying to look at other companies here in the area, here in the Colorado Springs area, and try to compete with them. And I basically took the best of what they had, the best of what I think my time's worth, and how I could negotiate that whole thing out. So I've been selling a lot of them. My existing customers, I've offered 10% off. For the first year, for being loyal customers. The easiest customers to maintain are the ones you already have. So I want to keep those ones happy. Otherwise, I've jacked my rate up a little bit. I used to be 75 an hour. Now I'm 79 an hour. And typically most of my service calls were about 2 hours. So I went ahead and just did a flat rate coming to you, just figured in 2 hours, and I jacked up a little bit to 159. I figured if I have to do a credit card swipe, it's going to be about 2 to 4%. If I'm doing credit card swiping, I'll at least recoup that money out of that. Couple dollars extra.
Sure. That's a good rate. That's a good rate.
Yep. So I've also learned to have some various services. Being an electrician and working with electrical things in the past, I used to play with things and take things apart. Monitors. I actually have been repairing a couple monitors. Here in Colorado Springs, the capacitors dry out really fast. It's so dry here, there's lack of humidity, and I replace those, and those are really easy to fix. I go down and spend maybe 10, $15 in capacitors. It takes about 30 minutes to repair it, and I'm, basically just made $80 in an hour. Excuse me, $80 in a half hour, so it's 160 an hour.
Yeah.
So, but I'm just, if I can get those knocked out. So I got a couple of those. Those are good.
Is that mainly what goes wrong with them, the caps?
Here, yeah, definitely here in the Springs. I see that a lot. And TVs. I actually have done a couple of flat panel LCD screens. TVs, same thing. And charge the same rate, and it's cheaper than the sound shop guys here. They're $150 to come to your house. I actually have people bring it to me if they're smaller ones, and repair it, get the caps, and go that way. It's works out pretty good.
Wow.
So
that's pretty cool.
Do a little laptop repair, desktop repair. One thing I think with some of the guys, if they're interested in getting into, would be kind of cool. I'm doing a Logitech camera system installations. Some small businesses around here want security cameras. And so what they do is they all just basically plug into the wall, and they could be connected over as long as they're on the same circuit. And they just goes, it's like having a Cat 5 basically in the wall by using the electrical power lines. These cameras mount, you plug them into an outlet, and then they're done. That's it. And then you plug into an outlet in the wall somewhere else in the building, and then you plug your computer into it. It can either be plugged in the network, or it can be plugged directly into the computer if you want to dedicate that computer for recording the video. It's got nice high def playback, and it also records audio. It only records when there's motion, so you're not wasting all the hard drive storage.
It gets high def over the electrical lines?
Yep, it's a Logitech camera system. You can look online there. Go to Logitech and go to the security stuff. It's really easy to set up. Best Buy sells it. Really easy moneymaker. I charge my $79 an hour rate, and I just booked a small homeless shelter here in the area. It's the Salvation Army, and I'm doing their camera systems. And I'm going to do Cat 5 instead of doing it over the power lines because they have a larger panel. As an electrician, I understand this. It had been the same phase. So because they're not, I'm just going to run Cat 5 to each one, put in one big plug strip from like Home Depot, and they'll all plug into one plug strip, and it all comes back from the camera to the little PoE device, and then it plugs right into the computer, and then works great. So I installed one on there. They loved it, and they want a second one put in, and so it was an easy $1,600.
Wow. How much are the cameras?
The cameras are about $250 each, ballpark, and then the master system's about $350. They have an internal version and an outside version that work really well. They're pretty robust, and they work pretty well. I'm impressed with them.
That's pretty neat.
And you can also remote into them, which is kind of nice. I played with it just out of curiosity. There is a little workaround if they don't want to pay the $80 a year to remote into the systems. Log me in, you can see the camera system and be able to play back and all that stuff through it. So that's pretty cool. You can look on your phone like that and see it live feeds, but if you want to be able to play back, go back to different events, you actually have to pay for their $80 a year service, but it's not too bad.
It's really neat. So they plug into the walls. That's very cool.
Yep, absolutely. So it's pretty cool. And then Control 4, I talked about that, the home automation thing. If you're interested in checking out Control 4, you can probably talk to some dealers in your area. If you like to do programming, go to control4.com, the number 4. And you can check that out. It's pretty cool.
What is it?
The home automation website.
Okay.
That I'm talking about. It's the company that sells the product. I install it and program it. And so if you want to learn about programming and just branch out, and because there's a lot of networking involved, and some of these AV guys that do the installation don't really understand a lot of the networking, have a lot of problems, and I've partnered with a guy here doing the networking piece, and it works out pretty well.
So is it difficult?
Well, they actually recommend you sit through a training class. But if anybody had done any basic programming, I mean, we were talking even like back to like GW Basic back in DOS days or whatever. It's pretty easy. It's mainly it's a GUI, it's a drag and drop. So you can just, one pane says basically shows the device. The middle pane is actually what you're going to do with it, and then the device on the far right, or the panel on the far right, says how you want to program it. So if I want to say when light turns on, make the radio turn on. So you can say click on the light switch, go on the right hand side, go to the radio, and then just drag and drop. There's a little column on the bottom that says what do you want to do when it opens, and then click turn on light or turn on radio, and then drag and drop, and it's done. It's really simple. If you were ever to get into more of the higher end audio or higher end home automation stuff, you have to be a C++ programmer to get into a lot of that stuff, and I'm just not that smart.
It takes a lot of time too. I don't know if it's smart.
Yeah.
It just takes a lot of time.
Exactly. I'm not that. I guess I'm smart enough not to mess with it.
I see. So this is like X10, but looks like an upgraded version. Like so, this is what
it does. It's similar to X10, but it's not over the power. X10 is actually really flaky. As an electrician, I tell you, I don't like X10. I hate it. This actually it's basically like Bluetooth, but it's called Zigbee. You can Google that. It's an 802.11 or 802 dot series. It uses something called mesh networking, and it's pretty cool. So basically, if one device goes out, it just reroutes itself to the other devices, and they all talk to each other.
Wow.
So the cool thing is the devices, like the switches and everything in the house, they're physical switches. So if the controller goes down, which it's basically a little Ubuntu box, if the controller does go down, the switches, everything still work just fine. So it doesn't like your whole house doesn't stop working.
Right, I see. So, is it expensive? Yeah. I mean, this is.
Yeah, it's kind of expensive. It's not too bad. Yeah. I would say it's actually considered a medium home automation system. If you go to like the Microsoft system uses what's called Z-Wave, which is an offshoot of Zigbee. Z-Wave wants to be the standard, but they're not quite getting there. They're working on one of the two fighting over between becoming the standard. But anyways,